Good evening. I'm Pedro Hazel Jr.
I'm Steve Ferguson.
Welcome to another edition of Sportslines Plus. Tonight, we'll be discussing Michael Brown's selection as Knicks head coach, the Subway Series, and more. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. The internet is youtube.com/@Sportslines Plus. It's youtube.com/@Sportslines Plus. The Knicks have finally selected their head coach. On Friday, the Knicks selected Michael Brown to succeed Tom Thibodeau as their new head man. Brown was 2023 season. He has previously coached for the Cleveland Cavaliers and Los Angeles Lakers. He has coached players such as LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Paul Gasol. He was assistant to legendary and Steve Kerr. Steve, what do you think of this? Very vocal about this one.
Yes, I have to tell you, is, in my opinion, this is the most confounding hire of the Knicks for any head coach they've ever, where the upgrade is in Mike Brown. My thought was when Thibodeau was to get Mike Malone in here.
I think we were all thinking like that.
Yes, and I did not like the way the Knicks went through their process of finding a head coach. They literally went to almost every organization in the NBA to find this head coach.
But he didn't find Steve Kerr.
No. And I'll get to that in a minute because I have a point with that. But I think what we're seeing with the Knicks is almost a sense of desperation to hire this coach.
Yeah.
I think the Knicks should have, once they realized they were not going to get anybody like Jason Kidd or Udoka or anybody of that caliber, they should have renegotiated with Tom Thibodeau, maybe for another year with an option for the year after.
Yeah.
But because Mike Brown is a confounding head coach.
Yeah.
This was a man, you may not remember this, but he actually coached LeBron James in part of his time he was in Cleveland.
Actually, his first few years with Cleveland, he coached him from his third to his seventh season.
Right. This man won 66 games for the Cavaliers.
That was 2008-2009. He won 66 games. And 2009-2010, he won 61 games.
Right. And you would think, right, if you've gotten to the NBA final, that you would win one of them. He has never won a starring coach job as the NBA finalist. He has been an assistant coach to other people who've won the championship, Steve Kerr being one of them. He has 3 rings with him and one with arguably maybe the best head coach in the game these days, who may have to retire for health problems. That's Greg Popovich. I don't understand how the Knicks are justifying this pick. I really don't.
Because a lot of people were saying, Thibodeau, I mean, even though he didn't use his bench, that's why he got fired the last time.
I believe that James Dolan is the reason he got fired.
I believe so too.
Because,
I think a lot of people.
Let me explain to you how valuable Tom Thibodeau was to this franchise. When we got him 5 years ago, the Knicks were totally irrelevant to not only New York, but everywhere in the NBA.
Yeah.
This man got us to the playoffs 4 out of those 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Our team improved almost every year, bench properly, that he abused players' energy and health by playing them far too many minutes and not utilizing the talents of all of his players on his bench. I'm talking all 11 or 12 the way people like Doc Rivers and Popovich run their organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand the irritation. I, too, was saying, why can't we get a better head coach who knows how to utilize his bench? We don't even run our offense in any way or form like, say, a Boston or a Cleveland. It's 30 seconds almost, literally, of Jaylen Brown dribbling the ball.
Yeah.
And then they're scrambling to get the ball to Towns or to somebody else or anybody else, frankly, on the court, like Bridges or Anunoby, but there's no sense of direction and how to run an offense.
Yeah.
So I was hoping they brought in somebody who understood how to use their bench, who understood how to run an offense, who would get more out of this team defensively, but we didn't. This coach we have now, I can just throw up my hands and say, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
He's won games. I understand that he's got 4 championship rings.
And he has a .599 percentage. That's the enigma of it all. 5.99 winning percentage.
The man has won 400, I believe, in 50-odd games. And we can't...
454 and 304.
Is pretty close. But the point is, Tom Thibodeau, in his 5 years with the Knicks, was a really good coach, win and loss wise.
Yeah.
He won over 200 games with the Knicks. He almost averaged 50 wins a year.
Actually, it's like he's 226, 174. So he's averaged like 44 or 45.
Yeah. Well, considering we won.
Yeah.
Tell me, the 2 years were really bad.
Yeah.
We won 17 games one year with him as the coach, 21 games one year as the coach, to all of a sudden 50-odd games.
Yeah.
That was a great improvement over what we had been.
Yeah.
So in looking back at the way this all was conducted, we should have kept Tom Thibodeau at least one more year to see if we could get to the finals.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm going to say Mike Brown has one and only one choice. You have to get us a championship ring, not next year, not the year after, now.
This coming season.
And I'll tell you why, because I think the coach they may want to hire after him would be Steve Kerr.
Mm-hmm.
And his contract will be up, guys, next year. I would love to have him as my head coach.
Oh, who wouldn't?
We tried to get Jason Kidd. He would have been a great choice.
He would have been a definite good choice.
I think Mark Jackson, for God's sake, would have been better than this guy. This is an awful choice. This is the coach I was fearing the Knicks were going to bring in.
I kind of figure so.
But
they were talking about him all throughout.
Oh, my God. Yes, they were.
Yeah.
All these other coaches turned us down. Billy Donovan, Udoka, probably Doc Rivers. Jason Kidd couldn't get out of his contract in Dallas. So then what were we left with? Then we were left with Mike Brown and the guy from Minnesota, the assistant head coach, who, by the way, is from New York, and he's an interesting guy. He might have been a better coach than this jerk that's coming in here now. I'm sorry, guys. I do not see what we're going to do with this guy. He's going to have to prove to the New York market that he really is as good a coach as we think he is. I think he's going to be here 1 year, maybe 2, and that'll be it. They are going to
If they don't win that championship, he is history.
To see, the problem with him is he has no further to go. Thibodeau took us almost up to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
He has to get us on the mountain winning a title. That's a tough act to follow. Thibodeau is going to look great when this is all said and done, because I think we're going to realize, he didn't run his bench well. Yes, he did some crazy things running the offense, but he made us so much better than when he first walked in the door.
Yes.
Now, I don't know where the hell we're going. I know we've got talent, but I want to see him run this.
Got talent, yeah.
I want to see the relationship he has with Jalen Brunson, I want to see the relationship he has with Towns and Bridges and Anunoby, and I want to see how they're going to mix Robinson in. Now, they have one guy they acquired from Philadelphia who will help us offensively at that position. Maybe that's the way to use them. Use 3 different centers. Golden State did it for years. But the point is, we have no direction right now. That's what
the Knicks have no direction.
That's what Thibodeau gave us. He gave us direction. He gave us organization and a feeling that we could win. Right now, I don't have that feeling. I'm very annoyed with what they did. I hope I'm wrong in saying this, but we have to win a championship.
The Knicks have to win a championship.
Yeah.
Well,
and
you keep saying we have to win. You don't, we don't work for the team.
But you know how fans are. We always say we. But the point is, even if he wins 65 games, which is possible next year with all the injuries in the NBA, with Halliburton being out for the year, with Tatum being out for the year, this is our best shot to win.
This is the next best shot.
But I really, really wish they had hired a different coach.
Yeah.
I'm very nervous about this season, more so than I've been the last 5-6 years. Thibodeau gave you a feeling that they were going to get there. This guy, I have no clue. I hope he does a good job, but good job may not be good enough. So we'll have to see.
We will have to see. Meanwhile, the Subway Series continues as the Mets battled the Yankees in Citi Field this weekend. The Mets took first two games of the series, beating the Yankees 6-5 and 12-6 respectively on Friday and Saturday nights. Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
The Yankees took the rubber game of the series though today, 6-4. The two teams are even in the Subway Series at 3-3. The Mets traveled to Baltimore for 4 against the Orioles and to Kansas City for 3 before the All-Star break. Meanwhile, the Yankees host the Mariners for 3 games, Cubs for 3 before the All-Star break. What do you think about this series, Steve? This weekend series?
This series for the New York Mets has to give them confidence.
Oh, yes.
That they are very much a contender for the title. I think this Yankees series, when we lost the first 2 games to them in the Bronx, we had to get the other 2 at Queens. We got it done.
Yeah.
They had a really incredible game that you and I actually went to on Friday.
Yes.
4th of July, absolutely great
yes,
crowd.
Indeed.
Sunshine, beautiful weather.
Not too hot.
Right. Low humidity. You couldn't ask for better.
Yeah.
Mets battled their way through that game with Jeff McNeil, of all people, driving in the winning run with a home run and making a sensational play for Reed Garrett. Yeah, you heard that name.
Yes, right. Reed Garrett. Oh.
The guy who had been blowing games for weeks that I had had enough of watching.
When we saw him getting up in the 7th inning, we were saying the 8th inning, we were saying, oh my God.
Yes. I said to you today, he has to pitch like a man.
And he did.
And he did it. So
Thank
Reed,
God he did.
I give you credit, Reed. I didn't think you'd do it, especially against the New York Yankees, but you got it done. Jeff McNeil saved you big time.
Saved us behind big
with
time.
An incredible play that he made on the Yankees' second baseman.
In the 9th inning.
In the 9th inning, yes. And McNeil hit that home run off Luke Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
Huge home run in the 7th inning. The Mets were trailing at that point. Didn't look like they were going to get through that game because the next guy that would have come in would have been Devin Williams.
Ooh.
So the game was on the line, and Jeff McNeil will surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost a unicorn as a player. Certainly not the level of a Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
But what he does do is surprise you with what he can do defensively and offensively.
Oh, yeah.
And it seemed like the stage was set for him, and he delivered big time for the Mets.
Yes, he did.
And the Mets actually, if I'm not wrong, had 3 home runs in that game. Juan Soto, who also had been criticized and booed constantly in that Met game, that Yankee game.
By Yankee fans.
They have been vicious to him all season long, but he shut them up that game.
And he was the player of the month in June.
Yes, he was. He has really turned his
season around. I figure eventually he was going to do it. He's just getting used to his new team.
Yeah, he's finally adjusted to the New York Mets, and I think they have adjusted to him.
Yeah.
But he came through for us when we were down 2-0, and I remember how the game started. The Martian for the Yankees, Jason Dominguez, who I think will be the next Yankees star player, homered off our starting pitcher, and I say that loosely because Justin Hageman was making his first major league start. Let me tell you something. He was great in this game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those first 2 home runs to Rodriguez and...
No, Dominguez.
Excuse me, please.
Okay.
Excuse me. Dominguez and, of course, Aaron Judge. They were a little scary at first.
Yes. The games definitely didn't get off to a good start for him, but he maintained his poise.
Yeah.
He only gave up 1 more run that he was charged with. He was charged with 4 because the reliever Warren came in and gave up the 4th run.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually pitched a creditable game.
Yes, he did.
And that was under a lot of pressure. 40-odd thousand people screaming, yelling, and couldn't wait to see the Yankees destroy the Mets. And he didn't allow it to happen.
Yep.
So I give him a lot of credit making your first major league start. He was tested, and he came through.
Yes, he did.
And Soto, the star of the game outside of McNeil, led the way with a home run. In the bottom of the first inning, he answered right back to the Yankee fans and said, take that to the opposite field and out the yard. So the New York Mets played a gutty game.
Yes, they did.
That was an incredible gutty game for the New York Mets. Remember, his last start was a disaster against the Pirates. Well, he figured out his problems. He was tipping pitches,
Yeah.
but he didn't look like it the next game.
Yeah.
He pitched much better. The Yankees hit a couple of home runs off him, but he kept his cool, maintained pretty good control of his stuff, and hung in there.
Yeah.
The Mets have proven one thing. They are an extremely resilient team.
Mhm.
Maybe the most resilient team in the National
Yes,
League.
indeed. And they have more injuries. I was reading that the Mets have more injuries than any team in the majors.
I have said to friends of mine, and you know I have, 5 Met pitchers, starting pitchers, have been hurt this year. 5.
Yeah.
I can tell you who they are. Griffin Canning with an Achilles tendon. He's out for the year. McGill is out for a couple more weeks. Senga's just starting rehab now. Minaya has been out all season long. He's coming back maybe in a week or two.
Mhm.
We're talking about a team that didn't even have one starter outside of Clay Holmes, who's been amazing, coming from the Yankees and never being a starter in the majors, and David Peterson, who has risen.
Yeah.
He, right now, is a left-handed pitcher who arguably on the Mets staff could be their number 1 or 2 starter.
Mhm.
That's how good he has been.
Wow.
But when we get these other starters back, and I think we're going to get most of them back soon, except for Griffin Canning, I think the Mets, speaking of what I think they're going to do, I think they're going to either try to get Sandy Alcantara, that name, we don't know how much the Mets would love to get him. Seth Lugo, Met fans, remember him, how good he is?
Oh, yeah.
He's a starter now. He got his chance, but not with the Mets, with the Padres.
Mhm.
And then last year with Kansas City, he was runner-up for the Cy Young Award. Wouldn't you like to have
Wow.
him?
Yes, we would.
And the third guy is a guy the Mets are very familiar with because he was a former Yankee, Luis Severino.
Yes.
Them.
Mhm.
So if you're the New York Mets, you have to get a few things. You need starting pitching. You do need one more relief pitcher who can lock down the 8th inning, maybe pitch the 8th and 9th like Stanek, but who has better control of their stuff. I don't trust Reed Garrett that much yet. I have to see more of how he performs. But we definitely need a bat in that lineup.
Yes, we do.
Cedric Mullin of the Orioles, to me, would be the ideal guy.
Mhm.
That's the one position the Mets don't have a bat.
Mhm.
Ty Taylor can play the hell out of defense.
Yeah.
I never argue with his defensive effort, but he's got to hit better than 215 to keep
Yeah.
the job.
Mhm.
Cedric Mullins can hit. He's a great defender. He's exactly what the Mets need. So the Yankees also have a lot of needs.
Yeah.
Right now, the Yankees have an absolutely terrible starting pitching staff.
Mhm.
Outside of Max Fried and Rodon, they don't have anybody.
Mhm.
You cannot tell me that Marcus Stroman's going to hold up for the whole year. He's almost finished. So what do you have? You have an injured Clark Schmidt, who is going to be out for the year with Tommy John surgery.
You've got Cole, who's out.
Cole's been out for the year with the same injury. And Luis Hill, who was almost an ace as well as he pitched last year, he's just coming back soon. Now, this month, he might be back July 28th, but he has to go through his rehab. So the Yankees definitely need 2 or 3 starting pitchers. They probably need another reliever. There are things that they need also, and they definitely need somebody who can play fundamentally good baseball.
Yeah.
That's one of the Yankees' big weaknesses.
Uh-huh.
They don't play good fundamental baseball, and they make a lot of mistakes in games.
Wow.
So
That's probably why they lost last year.
yeah,
World
that is
Series.
what the Dodgers absolutely obliterated the Yankees, and they did it by taking advantage of the Yankees' lack of fundamental play.
Yep.
And we all saw when it happened in that Game 5.
Mhm.
When Aaron Judge, one of the best players in the game, fumbled a line drive hit right at him, and then
Mhm.
and Garrett Cole just lost composure altogether,
Mhm.
and he wound up losing the game, and the series was over. They never went back to LA.
Yeah.
So both of these teams are battlers and fighters, and I give the Yankees and Mets a lot of credit for where they are in the standings, considering the crazy bad luck they've had the last few weeks. But I think the Mets are in better shape right now going forward than the Yankees.
Yes, indeed. Okay, the NBA Finals ended on June 22nd as the Oklahoma City Thunder beat the Indiana Pacers 103-91 in a thrilling seven-game series in Game 7. Sadly, Therese Halliburton tore his Achilles tendon in the game and is suspected to be out for most of this coming season. What are your final thoughts of this whole series?
I'll just tell you honestly.
Halliburton aside.
Yeah, I respect Indiana more than I am. It's a team that proved they play as a group, all of them. That's an excellent 12-man squad. By the way, unfortunately for them, they just lost Turner. He just signed with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, boy.
Now, the problem they have is that they don't have Damian Lillard. He has a torn Achilles. He won't be able to play. But they got Turner, and he will definitely help that team going forward. But Indiana is a great team.
I mean, it's like I have never seen a team show, and we talk about grit. We talk about the Knicks.
Yes.
This team had real grit.
Yes.
This
team, I believe, could have won the NBA Finals in Game 7.
I think it
for Halliburton getting seriously hurt.
I really agree.
I feel sorry for him. He also has a torn Achilles problem, and he'll be out most of the season also. By the way, Knicks fans, this is our best shot to win it all.
Yes.
Because Tatum on the Celtics is out with a torn Achilles heel, and so is Halliburton.
Yeah.
So right now, the Eastern Conference is wide open. There has been talk that the Atlanta Hawks are a pretty good team. They're going to be better. The Knicks certainly have a chance to step forward and be the best in this conference. But we have to see what we have as our head coach.
Yes, indeed.
So if he turns out to be a good head coach, pray the Knicks might have a shot at the championship this year.
Okay, for Steve Ferguson, I'm Pedro Hazel Jr. saying thanks for joining us. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. The internet address is youtube.com/@Sportslines Plus. Have a good week, everyone.
Have a good week, guys. Well, considering we had to wait so long to get on, I think it was a good show.